Good evening. It is my pleasure to welcome you to the 9th Annual American Cancer Society San Francisco Discovery Gala pre-show. My name is Stephanie Trong. I'm the founder of The Patient Story, and I'm so excited to be here tonight because we have an incredible program for you. First, we want to take the time to recognize our sponsors, the people, of course, who make all of this possible, whose generosity fuels our fight against cancer.
I live about 3 hours away from Odessa, and it's the second time I've had to go in. I had a mammogram, and they told me that there was an area that needed further imaging, and I'm so nervous. I feel like I have a big question mark on my future.
Develop breast cancer during their lifetime. We are here to help the ladies get through a difficult time, especially when they've come back for an abnormal finding on their mammogram.
I start my day in my home office. VRAD is in collaboration with Medical Hospital Center in Odessa. We have a group of 400 plus strong physicians sitting around the country reading x-rays remotely for patients who otherwise would have no access to subspecialists. Hi, Sonia.
Hi, Dr. Sesson. How are you?
I'm good, thank you.
I have a post-screen follow-up on Miss Carol today. There was an abnormality found on her left breast.
This mass on the left is getting larger, and it's measuring out at about 3.2 centimeters. Do you think you could take her ultrasound looking in the left upper outer quadrant, and then we'll see what this is? This is absolutely a game changer. In a few minutes' time, I can interpret a mammogram and get it back to the site to take quick, accurate care of the patient.
They wanted an ultrasound.
You have those sono images?
That was actually the height of my anxiety. I'm really grateful that the medical center has the technology, because it would have just been another week of wondering what was going to happen.
How are you, Miss Carol?
Good, I hope. You are indeed. That spot on the left that we were interested in, it turns out it's just a benign cyst. Simple cysts do not put you at increased risk for cancer. You get to leave them alone. So you're off the hook till next year.
Relief just washed over me. It's just like the doctor was right there in the same room with me.
Our partnership with Cisco has really changed the playing field for patients and the delivery of healthcare in this country. Cisco gave us that ability to speak face-to-face. The technology allows us to give turnaround times ahead of everybody else out there and secure safe transmission of images between any facility that we read for remotely.
Even if the outcome hadn't been positive, knowledge is power, and the sooner we can know, the better off we are. The first thing I'm going to do when I leave is hug my kids and just be appreciative.
When I think back on the last 25 years for the company, the learnings are deep and somewhat profound. We've done it our way. The This is a hard business, but it's a really great business to be in when you've got the right team and the right mindset to go off and really attack some of the hardest problems in biomedical research.
I think for most of us, when we start a company in the biomedical space, the objective is fairly narrow. We just want to solve a scientific problem. Hopefully, the solution to that problem may lead to a drug.
From everything from access to government affairs to all touch points in the organization, the patient is at the focus.
Patients aren't only front and center in what we do, but Exelixis also works with a variety of patient advocacy organizations who work with us to create a united front and good public health policy.
As every aspect of the organization evolves, how do we have the vision to create the next wave of clinical studies that will help address those patients' needs, even as better therapies come onto the market?
I'm really excited about Exelixis today. We moved to Alameda. We've got a lot of room to expand and grow, and we've got this great opportunity to get even more great drugs to patients in need.
Part of the goal here is to balance both the internal discovery and looking at external assets that can drive the company forward.
The mandate is we need to help rebuild the Exelixis pipeline on the heels of the success we've had.
We're putting a lot of effort into building a pipeline, both with the restart of internal discovery and also with intensive business development. We now have 4 collaborations that we've signed for a series of assets.
The vision that we had is now becoming reality. The Discovery BD effort has put about 15 or so new ideas into the project phase in the last couple of years.
All this great clinical study work is in process, and we're at a point where we get to start to unveil some of these important data sets.
We think that it's just the beginning, with more than 70 trials underway, as well as new compounds being entered into the clinic.
What I would like Exelixis to be known for is the quality of its science and its ability to bring meaningful drugs to the patient community.
Seeing the effect of your work on the lives of patients is probably one of the greatest things any scientist can experience. We're ready for the next challenges, and we're totally ready to continue on our mission to bring important medicines to the patients with cancer.
We give them hope. That for us is a legacy. If that can continue and grow, we'd all be proud of to tell our kids and our grandkids as we go forward.
Amgen is committed to the relentless pursuit of breakthroughs for cancer patients and their families. We like to call it advancing oncology at the speed of life. Today, 1 in 5 cancer patients receives an Amgen medicine, whether it's a precision oncology targeted therapy, an immuno-oncology therapy from the BITE platform or oncolytic virus, or a supportive care agent. Ultimately, our goal is to quickly bring the next frontier of innovative medicines with the greatest potential benefits for patients while delivering on quality, reliability in supply, and affordable medicines.
This is an extraordinary time for cancer research. Innovation is thriving, and novel therapies are impacting this grievous disease. At Amgen, we are dedicated to advancing our medicines for all patients, regardless of their ability to pay. We know we can't do this alone, and that is why we are committed to our partnerships with patients, payers, advocates, and academic centers.
Amgen Community Oncology Research Collaborators bring clinical trials to the communities where cancer patients live and are most likely to be treated. Amgen supports several initiatives led by patient organizations to reduce health disparities and diversify clinical trial participation.
It all starts by mining novel genetic platforms to identify those targets that drive disease. Once we've identified those targets, we choose the best modality to modulate the target. Examples of some of the therapies that we're currently evaluating include bispecific T-cell engagers, immuno-oncology therapies, as well as small molecules, including one that modulates mutant KRAS. Using this process, we're optimistic about what we can deliver to improve the lives of patients.
Good evening, everybody. I'm Stephen Isaacs, the Chairman, President, and CEO of Aduro Biotech, and a member of the Board of Ambassadors for the San Francisco Discovery Gala, and I've been a member since 2015. The Discovery Gala has created a community of diversified industries, such as life science companies like Aduro, accounting firms, tech firms, and others, and we gather together once a year to raise awareness and funds for cancer research and services to cancer patients in our community and across the nation. But as everybody listening this evening knows, cancer has no borders and extends around the globe. Cancer is a global problem and it requires a global solution. The American Cancer Society has a huge global initiative that is working with countries to address disparities, caring for cancer patients and their families, and funding necessary research specific to cancers that affect those nations. I've been involved in and have personally supported the Kenya Hope Hostel project that is located in East Africa. Unfortunately, approximately 40,000 new cases of cancer are diagnosed in Kenya each year, and an estimated 28,500 Kenyans die of the disease. Kenya has several private hospitals offering comprehensive cancer treatment for those who can afford to pay, but for most Kenyans, this is far out of reach. Their only option is the one public hospital in the country with a comprehensive cancer treatment center, which is the Kenyatta National Hospital in Nairobi. Cancer patients from several countries travel hundreds of miles to get there, arrive without any money, and exhaust their resources in doing so. Once there, these patients and their caregivers find a severe lack of safe and affordable lodging. Many of these patients in active cancer treatment have to sleep in hospital corridors or even sleep outside. The well-being of these patients and their hope for survival is obviously compromised because they are exposed to the elements. They don't have a place to bathe or even prepare a proper meal. The American Cancer Society is partnering with the Kenyatta National Hospital to build a 156-bed Hope Hostel, which aims to serve more than 2,000 cancer patients annually. The project will provide free temporary housing and integrated hospital services, plus be an on-site resource center to connect patients and caregivers with cancer information and resources. Here is more on this project, as well as the Society's global initiative.
Cancer touches people everywhere in the world. It respects no borders. It has no boundaries. Worldwide, cancer is the second leading cause of death. In 2018, 1 out of 6 deaths in the world was caused by cancer, more than HIV/AIDS, tuberculosis, and malaria combined.
The world is becoming ever more aware of this, and particularly in the developing countries, because that's where 60% of the cancer incidence is occurring and about 70% of the cancer mortality.
Our intention isn't to single-handedly solve the global cancer crisis. We depend heavily on our partners, governments, other international and national civil society organizations, and the private sector.
We're focusing our efforts. We're showing how things that can work in one place with a small amount of resources and where we can achieve measurable results in a fairly short period of time can then be positioned for larger donors to come in to replicate those efforts, to expand them, to make them universal in one country and then eventually in a region and then eventually globally.
At the core of Prevent 20 is a tool that ACS researchers developed to predict how much tax increase is needed for meaningful reductions in smoking. The tool has already garnered significant success in several countries, notably Mexico and Indonesia. Through Global HPV Cancer Free, ACS is working to increase the uptake of HPV vaccination in girls living in lower and middle income countries to address the disproportionate burden of cervical cancer. Worldwide, more than 300,000 cervical cancer deaths occurred in 2018. 90% of these preventable cervical cancers were in lower and middle income countries. In Kenya, we mentored and supported our local cancer organization partner, Women for Cancer Early Detection and Treatment, to lead communications and advocacy in the rollout of the HPV vaccination aimed at 10-year-old girls.
The American Cancer Society, again, pioneered patient navigation in the United States about 30 years ago.
In 3 years of using this program, transformation has happened with Kenyatta National Hospital. The hospital has navigated about 6,000 patients, showing much higher treatment completion rates. It's been imitated by other hospitals in the region, and we're expanding our patient navigation program to other countries now. Through collaboration, NCCN finalized the first 46 NCCN harmonized guidelines for sub-Saharan Africa for more than 86% of all adult cancers in this region. The guidelines have been downloaded over 8,000 times and are endorsed by 6 countries.
IBM is the innovation partner with the American Cancer Society, NCCN, and ACC. Our role is to figure out what kind of technology solutions we could bring together in this partnership so that we can help tackle cancer together.
In November 2019, just 3 years after the initial meeting in Paris, the African Cancer Coalition collaborators announced a new alliance to continue to help improve access to high-quality care and treatment in Africa.
Working together, I could see us implementing the vision of an African continent that is free of cancer.
You know, when I think about our global cancer control program, I'm just really proud of the impact that we're having. I've had a chance to see it for myself in action in sub-Saharan Africa, and I know for a fact that we are saving lives, that we are making a difference, and that feels really great about advancing our mission in the fight against this disease.
Learn more about American Cancer Society Global Impact. Visit global.cancer.org.
I'm Jeff Kloss of the American Cancer Society's West Region. I'm so grateful that you joined us this evening. We're all here because we care about the fight against cancer. While this fight is always critical, it's even more urgent now. The pandemic is threatening our life-saving work, and cancer patients are more vulnerable than ever. Sadly, almost 80% of cancer patients in active treatment report delays in their care due to COVID-19. Like many of you and your loved ones, I myself have heard the devastating words, "You have cancer," nearly 20 years ago. I know the courage and determination it takes to battle the disease. Having cancer is hard, but having cancer during a pandemic could seem insurmountable. Tonight, we will hear stories of inspiration and hope. We'll also have the opportunity to celebrate loved ones who have triumphed over cancer and to honor those who have lost their battles. As you enjoy this evening, I ask you to consider the urgent need before us. The pandemic and the resulting economy have the potential to reduce our ability to fund cancer research by 50%. At risk are better treatments and discoveries that could save lives. We cannot let cancer have the advantage. We cannot allow fewer resources to stop the progress we've been making. Any delay in discovering the next cancer breakthrough means lives lost. Your support is critical to ensuring cancer research is funded at the highest levels. Your gift, no matter how large or small, helps ensure the American Cancer Society is there for patients 24 hours a day, every day of the year, with information and support when it's needed most. Thank you for standing with the American Cancer Society to ensure the fight continues during this difficult time. Thank you for your volunteerism and your financial support. We couldn't do this life-saving work without you.
There isn't much good in the news. Good isn't loud. Good isn't breaking. good doesn't get above the fold. But if we scroll past the flame wars and tune out the shouting, what do we find? The good news. Good inspires us to listen, not argue. Good allows us to connect, not divide. Good pushes us to act and learn and succeed. Good news may not make the news, but it's everywhere. It's made up of real stories, and our community is both subject and author of those stories. Side by side, we are writing them every day. We write them by showing up, by using the best tools and technology, by lacing up our boots, then doing it again and again. We've come a long way, but there's still more to do. The good news is, together, we'll get it done.
These days, it's easy to feel helpless. Like the world moves without regard for love. Like together is a past tense, and our future is uncertain. It's easy to feel like our problems are too big to solve.
I asked myself, why me? But then I realized that cancer doesn't discriminate. Cancer can happen to anybody.
But every big problem is just a series of small ones. The vague but striking fear of a diagnosis, lessened with every late-night question answered. The complex web of individual diseases, untangled with every rogue cell understood. The reality that treatment is out of reach, eliminated with every right to treatment coordinated, and every place to stay secured. The overwhelming burden of the work left to do lowered with every fundraising goal met and every life-saving bill passed. We can't end cancer alone. But when each one of our 1.5 million volunteers, staff, and researchers solves a small problem, hope gets bigger.
Hi, name is Dr. Shannon Stott, and I'm bringing hope from home because cancer patients need our support now more than ever. Like many of you, I'm finding myself in an unusual situation where I'm doing an American Cancer Society video from my home to share with you the type of research that I'm doing. There are joys and challenges that come from working from home, but I'm excited to be here with you today as we all work towards making a difference in cancer treatment. I'm an American Cancer Society funded researcher focusing on developing devices that can help us better manage cancer patient treatment. I started off as a mechanical engineer, and I was very grateful when the American Cancer Society took a risk on me over a decade ago to allow me to start developing microfluidic devices to see what kind of biomarkers we can pull from cancer patient blood. Jump forward a decade later, I now have a larger American Cancer Society grant that allows us to pursue the concept of liquid biopsy, or the idea of pulling out cancer patient blood cells to understand how cancer spreads and kills. You may have guessed from the presence of a face mask that I'm back in the lab. We've been back here now for a few weeks, focusing our efforts on how the coronavirus impacts cancer patients. We are concerned that many of the neurological symptoms associated with the coronavirus are very similar to the symptoms that a cancer patient may experience if their brain tumor has returned. We're hoping that our technologies may be useful for the clinicians to figure out if those symptoms are associated with the virus or the potential for the tumor to have returned. We're also hoping that we can learn more about the biology of the virus, and specifically how the virus will impact the immune system of cancer patients. Our devices are small, portable, disposable, and can be rapidly deployed into the clinic if we find that they can be useful. Cancer hasn't stopped, and neither have we.
Hello, everyone. I'm Allison Wagenfeld, and I head up marketing for Google Cloud. Thank you to the American Cancer Society for having me join this event tonight virtually. I'm honored to speak on behalf of the Google Cloud team around the incredible partnership that we've had with ACS. And this work is even more meaningful because of my own personal experience. I brought along a few props to tell my story. 10 years ago, I was diagnosed with breast cancer after accidentally finding a tumor while simply adjusting my shirt. Just 6 months earlier, before my diagnosis, my breast cancer went undiagnosed in a standard mammogram read by a human. In fact, I recently came across the films in the cancer box in my basement. And I had all of these films and realized that they didn't disclose what I needed to know at that time. And also in that box, I found the wig that I wore during chemotherapy and beyond. I even found the books about recovering from my double mastectomy and books about the cancer fighting kitchen and how to eat during that period of time. 2010 was a tough year. But now in 2020, I am so much more optimistic about early detection and treatment of breast cancer, thanks in large part to the phenomenal work being done by the American Cancer Society. And I'm particularly excited about how ACS is embracing advanced technology, such as machine learning. In fact, just last year, Mia Gadet, scientific director at ACS, teamed up with Google and with Slalom Consulting to develop a machine learning model to analyze breast cancer tissue samples. With ML, the analysis was completed in only 3 months, 12 times faster than projected, and with a higher degree of accuracy and consistency. Mia shared that the use of Google Cloud's machine learning technology was helping researchers better understand the complexity of breast tumor tissue, leading to better outcomes for patients. This type of innovative partnership is precisely why I do what I do at Google, and it's also what drives all of our teams at Google Cloud. We're here because we want to help solve the hardest problems, and certainly detecting and curing cancer is one of the biggest ones. There's nothing more rewarding than seeing our products change not only businesses, but more importantly, how they can change the world. I want to thank the American Cancer Society for doing breakthrough research with breakthrough technology. And I want to thank everyone who's supporting ACS here at this fundraiser tonight through donations of time and money. It's an honor to be here to speak with you, and thank you for all of your support and everything that we're all doing together.
Such important work in the fight against cancer. So thank you again to each and every one of our sponsors. Now, for those of you who are just joining us, thank you for tuning in to the 9th Annual American Cancer Society San Francisco Discovery Gala. My name is Stephanie Trong, and I'm the founder of The Patient's Story. Now, of course, none of us could have ever predicted what happened this year, and in the face of COVID-19, the American Cancer Society has continued to do life-saving work across the country. What we've learned to do quickly is to be safely physically distanced and at home, but also to stay as united as ever in our commitment to support the mission of the American Cancer Society, and that is to save lives, celebrate lives, and lead the fight for a world without cancer. Now, over the next 40 minutes or so, we'll hear from supporters of the Society, and we'll be treated to an amazing musical performance by American Idol finalist Pia Toscano. And if that wasn't enough, you'll hear some incredible and moving personal stories, as well as my own personal connection to the Society's mission. So let's get to it. Good evening. It is my pleasure to welcome each and every one of you who's tuned in tonight to the 9th Annual American Cancer Society San Francisco Discovery Gala. Now, if you're just joining us, my name is Stephanie Trong. I'm the founder of a cancer patient and caregiver platform, The Patient's Story. I'm thrilled to be here with you all this evening as we join together to celebrate and save lives. Now, a little bit about me. I was born and raised right here in the Bay Area, and after all that we've been going through lately, those images of hope from San Francisco really truly warmed my heart. And it's just a glimpse into the incredible night that we have ahead of us. So thank you everyone for joining us for this evening of celebration, of entertainment, and a final chance to take part in an amazing auction that you don't want to miss. We'll have more details on that. So like many of you may be feeling, I have to address this sort of elephant in the room. It is a bit strange to be getting together this way instead of dressing up in our gowns and our tuxes and crowding the Westin St. Francis. Now, it's not as intimate as we have liked, but we hope you're enjoying this from the comfort of your own homes. No judgment on the pajamas. I feel that even though we're apart physically, we are together in spirit now more than ever before. And I hope that that resonates with every one of you who's tuned in tonight. Now, cancer, of course, hasn't stopped during COVID-19, but neither has the American Cancer Society. They've continued to take calls from cancer patients and caregivers 24/7. They've continued to fund critical research. They've continued to advocate for better healthcare and increased funding to address healthcare disparities that hit the most vulnerable of those in our community. For me, the American Cancer Society's mission couldn't be more meaningful and more personal. And that's because I myself am a cancer survivor. Back in 2017, I underwent nearly 700 hours of chemotherapy for non-Hodgkin lymphoma, blood cancer. I was 2 months from my wedding. I was still at my previous job as a TV news reporter right here in the Bay Area. And then just weeks after getting that diagnosis, I was bald, I was frightened, and I was feeling incredibly isolated. And that's why I started The Patient Story. It's a platform of in-depth cancer survivor stories published with one mission in mind: to help newly diagnosed patients and caregivers navigate an incredibly overwhelming and trying time. Now, that passion that drove me to quit my journalism career to start The Patient Story was born from my own experience of feeling vulnerable and alone. And that is the same passion that drives so many of the people behind the American Cancer Society. And of course, the sponsors, the givers, people who make this incredibly important work possible, whether you're cancer thrivers, caregivers, or just people who want to make a difference. So it's clear that the mission statement of ACS, it's not just words. There's a real impact on the lives of countless people who've been touched by cancer. Through research that helps lead to better treatments and protocols, through resources day to day that help make cancer journeys less painful, less confusing, and of course, so much more. So I really want to emphasize, by being here tonight, you are part of that really important impact that will be fueled by our goal of $1.5 million tonight. And you can track that progress. We'll be checking out the goal thermometer that will appear throughout the evening. Now let's do a quick check-in, which shows a whopping $900,000. That's an incredible start. Before we begin, though, I'd like to give a huge shout out and heartfelt thanks to everyone who's participated in the auction that launched just last Friday. We have some wonderful items that are up for grabs, including luxury wine country experiences, a year's supply of Michelin star chef approved coffee, and once in a lifetime experiences for cancer patients and their families. That's just to name a few. Everything raised from this auction goes towards the American Cancer Society's work towards, of course, getting rid of cancer. The great news is there's still time for you to get in on that action. Just go to ACSCASF2020.ggo.bid, and that's on your screen, so don't forget to check it out. And don't forget that the auction ends at midnight Pacific time, so bid now. It's your chance. Again, that's ACSCASF2020.ggo.bid. Now, as some of you may know, we typically auction off birthday cakes at the San Francisco Discovery Gala. The American Cancer Society is proudly the official sponsor of birthdays. Why? Because a world with less cancer is a world with more birthdays. The birthday cake represents cancer survivors who were able to celebrate another birthday, in part because of your generous donations. This year, we actually have a unique opportunity to give back, and we're calling it the Birthday Cake Challenge. So how does it all work? This helps to benefit even more people this year, people who have sacrificed in order to help others. We're talking about frontline healthcare workers. Now, to help us kick off festivities tonight, the American Cancer Society's own CEO, Gary Reedy, has prepared a very special message.
Good evening. I hope you are all enjoying tonight's Digital Discovery Gala. Usually, I would be greeting you in person as we gather for this exciting annual event, but these are certainly not usual times. This year, so much has changed, but one thing that has not changed is our commitment to our mission to save lives, celebrate lives, and lead the fight for a world without cancer. Never before in our 107-year history has our mission been at risk like this. Postponed events and a dramatic dip in charitable donations have led to a revenue shortfall no one could have predicted. Our funding of cancer research is at the lowest investment this century. At risk are more and better treatments and discoveries that will improve and save lives. Cancer patients are depending on us, and we cannot let them down. I am so grateful for our amazing volunteers and partners who made tonight possible. I especially want to thank our event chairs, Mike Morrissey, President and CEO of our diamond sponsor, Exelixis, and his wife, Megan. and our presenting sponsor, Cisco, for their ongoing support. I'm sending a big thank you to Cisco's executives and employees, and a special thank you to Jackie Guichelar, Group Chief Information Officer at Cisco, and Audrey Faville, founder of Faville, who are both serving as vice chairs of our event this evening. We are so inspired by the determination of our San Francisco volunteers, partners, and staff who made tonight possible. Your commitment to the American Cancer Society makes a big difference in the fight against cancer. We simply could not do our work without you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for supporting our life-saving mission.
Planning and leading an event like the Discovery Gala is never a simple task, and you know this well if you've tried to plan anything like this. This year's event, plagued by COVID-19 and unforeseen circumstances and challenges, required an incredible leader to step up to help navigate through this pandemic. And that leader for us was Mike Morrissey. So thank you, Mike, for your leadership. It means so much to the volunteers and to the staff of the American Cancer Society. And now we invite him to come and share his own welcome. Mike?
Hello and good evening. We'd like to welcome you to the 2020 American Cancer Society San Francisco Discovery Gala. By virtue of joining us and supporting the American Cancer Society, you are part of one of the great causes of our time. And together we will save more lives, celebrate lives, and lead in the fight for a world without cancer. The American Cancer Society is attacking cancer from every angle with their programs and services to help patients and their loved ones understand cancer, manage their lives through treatment and recovery, and find the emotional support they need. And best of all, the help offered by the organization is completely free. Megan and I are honored to serve as the 2020 event chairs, and would like to thank all of our sponsors and individual donors for supporting tonight's event, especially Cisco, our presenting sponsor. Your participation tonight and ongoing support are the reasons why the American Cancer Society has been and continues to be so successful in their efforts to help cancer patients and their families. I think everyone can agree that 2020 has come with a unique set of challenges that have impacted all facets of life across the globe, including those who are coping with the complexities of a cancer diagnosis. It is now more critical than ever to support the American Cancer Society as they continue to serve as a lifeline and support network for cancer patients and their families. We would like to thank everyone for your generous support and participation in tonight's event. Additionally, we'd like to congratulate this year's 2020 Discovery Gala honoree, Dr. Jeffrey Bluestone. The American Cancer Society has a great program in store for you this evening. Please enjoy and have a great time.
Thank you, Mike, for your leadership, for your compassion, and for your support of the mission, which, as Mike said, and it stands repeating, together we will save lives, celebrate lives, and lead in the fight for a world without cancer. Okay, now we have to check our goal thermometer, okay? Our total continues to rise thanks to your generosity. So the thermometer currently reads $1.253 million. Wow, that is incredible momentum and super exciting. And our next guests are sure to propel us even further forward.
Unfortunately, Sean Parker was unable to join us tonight as previously planned. Sean very much wanted to introduce his dear friend, Dr. Bluestone, and thank him personally for all of his incredible contributions in the field of immunotherapy. We're thrilled to announce Louis Lanier, PhD, Chair, and J. Michael Bishop, MD, Distinguished Professor of Microbiology and Immunology, has graciously agreed to say a few words about our remarkable honoree, Dr. Jeffrey Bluestone.
Hi, I'm Louis Lanier. I'm Chair and Professor of Microbiology and Immunology at the UCSF Medical School, Director of the Parker Institute for Cancer Immunotherapy at UCSF, and an ACS Professor. It's a great pleasure tonight to introduce my good friend, Jeff Bluestone, who's this year's honoree of the ACS Gala. Jeff began his career at the National Cancer Institute as a postdoctoral fellow, and then went on to become the director of the Ben May Cancer Institute at the University of Chicago. There he made a seminal discovery. He discovered that if you blocked an inhibitory molecule known as CTLA-4, it allowed T cells to respond much more strongly and resulted in and provided the foundation for the amazing revolution in cancer immunotherapy that has resulted because of checkpoint blockade treatments. Jeff joined the faculty of UCSF in 2000. He also established about that time the Immune Tolerance Network at the NIH to put together many labs across the country to investigate how you can render humans tolerant to allergens and transplants. Jeff also partnered with Sean Parker and created the Parker Institute for Cancer Immunotherapy, which is an absolutely amazing organization that's brought together many of the greatest researchers in cancer immunology on the planet. Jeff's had a long-standing interaction with the ACS. He was an ACS faculty fellow. Last year, he received the 2019 ACS Irvington Weinstein Award. And he continues to make groundbreaking discoveries. So it's my great pleasure tonight to say, good job, Jeff. We're really proud of you and are glad that you're this year's honoree.
First of all, I want to thank the members of the ACS and the nominating board and those people that were involved in choosing me to honor at this event. I hope that I would be there in person and hope that I'd be able to thank you all individually. But in the age of COVID, we're all doing it at a distance. But that said, I can't tell you how much I appreciate not just this award, this honor, but the years of ACS involvement, not just in my own research, but in the field that I care so much about. To give you a little bit of my background, I started back in the early 80s being interested in immunology, and particularly actually having an important set of research questions that I wanted to ask about cancer, because I felt even in those early days that the immune system was indeed an area in which we might be able to impact cancer and cancer therapies. And it was really in the late 80s that I had an ability to really put a lot of effort in the field because of ACS. I received a faculty award that allowed me from 89 to 94 to be supported by the ACS. And as I left the NIH, the National Cancer Institute, to start my own lab at the University of Chicago, it was that boost of the ACS grant that really gave me a chance to establish my lab in the Ben May Institute for Cancer Research. And it was in those early days of studying T-cell activation and how the immune system gets going to attack foreign viruses and bacteria that we were able to come across what turned out to be a key switch, a key break in the immune system, a molecule called CTLA-4. And CTLA-4 at the time was thought to be just another switch to turn on the immune response. But we showed that indeed CTLA-4 was essential in putting on the brakes and keeping the immune system shut down. And so it was that effort in 1994 which really changed, I think, the field of cancer immunotherapy, as Jim Allison, who went on to win the Nobel Prize, was able to show that that checkpoint, that break, really, when released, could allow the immune system, specifically T cells, to go after cancer and destroy them. And so if it wasn't for the ACS support, I think that whole field would have taken longer to evolve. And today, now, cancer immunotherapy is one of the dominant areas of both research and clinical intervention in cancers. And drugs like anti-PD-1 antibodies and now novel immunotherapies using CAR T cells really has changed cancer from a disease in which we try to prolong life through targeting the cancer themselves to now causing cures by being able to turn on the immune system and allow it to go out, seek out, and destroy the cancers and permanently clear the patient from their tumors. So this is not an inconsequential thing for me. This is really important. And again, not just is it important that we cherish the things that we've been able to do so far, but that we end up really supporting the efforts in the future. As I'm sure all of you know, this is a particularly challenging time for those of us in science as we struggle to get to the laboratory to do our research, as we struggle to enroll patients in our clinical trials, but as importantly, as we struggle to raise the funds that we need to support the effort. And much to my dismay, that the age of COVID has affected raising money as much as anything else. And so I just encourage you all to think hard about how you can use whatever your dollars are, and that we continue not just to do the basic science that's so essential, but also to be able to move that basic science developmentally. And now in my new role as CEO of a company, I know how important it is to have that basic science deliver new discoveries that we can translate into drugs. So again, I want to thank everybody who's attending this in whatever way you're doing that for this honor. Thank the ACS for all of the hard work it's done over many decades and the impact it's had on my career. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Jeffrey Bluestone and Sean Parker, for your phenomenal impact in our fight against cancer. Now, to be honest, I knew American Cancer Society did a lot, but until this, I didn't know everything that it does. It's impressive how the American Cancer Society has been targeting cancer from every angle. We're talking funding critical research to advance our understanding of cancer and, of course, how to stop it, to supporting our frontline healthcare heroes, and providing resources for cancer patients, caregivers, and survivors, something that, of course, means very much to me. Tonight, everyone has a chance to fuel that ACS mission, and our community is not disappointing. A check of the thermometer and the total, which keeps going up, is now at $1.3 million. That is incredible. Let's keep it up. Thank you so much to each and every one of you. And don't worry, we still have more time. Just head to the link that's showing up on your screen right now. That's your chance to help save and celebrate lives as well. Now, we know there are a lot of worthy causes out there, which is why we are so grateful for the generosity and commitment of our leaders in our corporate communities. These are companies that have been paving the way in social responsibility and social impact, which of course align with the everyday work of the American Cancer Society. So we'd like to take a moment to recognize all of tonight's sponsors. We give thanks to our presenting sponsor, Cisco, for what they are doing to uplift our mission of saving lives, celebrating lives, and fighting for a world free of cancer. Thank you, Exelixis, our diamond sponsor. Your values of courage, hope, and determination make you an amazing ally in our mission of attacking cancer from every angle. To our gold sponsors, Accenture, Gilead, Google Cloud, and Salesforce, we appreciate all that you are doing to support our cancer patients and survivors, so thank you. And many thanks to our ambassador sponsors, 3T Biosciences, Aduro Biotech, Atreca, Capgemini, Ernst & Young, Genentech, Jazz Pharmaceuticals, KPMG, Nectar, Parker Institute for Cancer Immunotherapy, SAP, Stanford Cancer Center, and Zoom. We would also like to thank HPE, our Diamond Match sponsor, who has generously agreed to match up to $100,000 of tonight's donations. So let's not let this opportunity go to waste, because every dollar counts. This money goes to supporting cancer patients and caregivers who may not only be dealing with a life-altering or life-threatening diagnosis, but who don't know how to pay for lodging during treatment. American Cancer Society provides lodging assistance, and this is just one of the real-world impacts of your dollars given to the American Cancer Society. From $5 to $5,000, every dollar counts. By supporting tonight's event, you're sending a message that you are all in to fight cancer. You're sending a message that you want to find answers by funding groundbreaking research, and that you want to help prevent cancer and keep people from suffering. If you give now, we can continue to take those critical steps towards a world free from cancer. And I just want to remind everyone that our virtual auction continues. The site does close, though, at 12 midnight Pacific time, so get your bids in while you can. Now, I do want to highlight one package in particular I'm really excited to share. It's the Flour and Water Pizza Party. The Day Away from Cancer program was created to give cancer patients and their caregivers a break from all the hardships, from dealing with the treatments, from all the pains and the symptoms and the side effects. Bidding on this package will give cancer patients and their families, all their loved ones at UCSF Benioff Children's Hospital, San Francisco, the chance for a pizza party, and that's courtesy of Flour and Water Pizzeria. So thank you to Flour and Water. Now, next up, I'm happy to introduce someone who has dedicated herself to helping so many others. Another incredible cancer survivor and patient advocate we're recognizing tonight as our Raising Hope honoree, Parul Somani, founder and CEO of Silver Linings.
My journey with cancer actually began long before my own diagnosis. I was 6 years old when my mother was diagnosed with early onset breast cancer in her 30s. And this was at a time when the word cancer still carried the weight of a death sentence. I don't remember much of that time, but I do have this vivid memory of a certain darkness, a literal one. We lived in a ground floor apartment at this time, and there were large sliding doors that opened out into the community. And during my mom's treatment, she wore a wig when we were outside, but it was extremely uncomfortable and itchy for her. And I have this memory of when we were in the apartment, she would be more comfortable with the wig off, but then wanted the privacy of not being seen. And so even in the broad daylight, we would have the curtains closed and the room lights on. And I realized a long time ago that if I were ever to be diagnosed, I wouldn't want to stay in the darkness. I would want to share my story with the world. So I was 38 weeks pregnant when I first felt a lump. I still remember reclining in the examination room where I was at an ultrasound for the baby, and I felt this pea-sized mass in my chest. And I was immediately paranoid, but was assured by my doctor that it's likely nothing to worry about because I was only 31 years old and I was pregnant. And so the lump was likely just a clogged milk duct. Because of a genetic risk that I had, though, she agreed that I should probably get an ultrasound and biopsy done. But I never made it to that appointment because 2 days later, my water broke and my newborn arrived 2 weeks early. If that wasn't stressful enough, my baby was actually born with complications, and we had to be ambulance transported to a neighboring hospital with an acute NICU. Still with the lump top of mind, my husband wheeled me from the NICU to the neighboring breast clinic for an ultrasound and biopsy. And even there, the breast surgeon assured me it was likely nothing to worry about. A few days later, my daughter was discharged with a clean bill of health, and we were able to go home. But it was that weekend of Father's Day, on her 1-week birthday, that I received the call from the breast surgeon saying the mass is malignant after all. And I had stage 2 triple negative breast cancer. In the year that followed, I had 10 rounds of chemotherapy, 4 surgeries, and 4 blood transfusions. And I was so blessed to have the support of family and friends around me. My mom and dad actually were fortunately already living with me at the time because they had come to visit to help with the new baby. And my mother was the mother to my newborn that I just couldn't be at that time. But additional strength came from 2 key sources. The first was finding moments of empowerment. Being faced with a diagnosis and going through treatment has just so much uncertainty filled with it, and so much feels out of your control, that to be able to find moments where I could regain control over my situation was extremely empowering. Another area where I found a lot of strength during my treatment was actually finding a purpose within that broader hardship. And it involved starting a blog called New Job, New Baby, New Cancer. And writing was very therapeutic throughout my journey, but it was also knowing that I had created this purpose through a blog, a documentation of my experience so that my daughters would be able to read it and understand it when they were older, and that I would be able to share my experience with the world that purpose also shaped my own perspective of how I was going to face my own treatment and gave me a strength and a perspective of positivity that I found great strength in throughout my journey. I hope that the word cancer loses the weight of fear and dread that it carries today. There has been so much progress in recent decades in terms of the research done to understand the genetic, dietary, and other environmental risk factors for cancer that empower patients to be their own advocates. There's a greater understanding of the preventive measures needed and access to screening, and more tailored therapies and treatment plans, and access to more support programs, recognizing that treating cancer isn't just about treating the body, but the mind and soul of that entire patient. And with the work the American Cancer Society has been doing and will continue to do with the necessary support, we can continue on these developments, this innovation, and bringing more access to appropriate healthcare and research and programs to all communities who need it, hoping for a better future for both my daughters and all of us.
Her story, her strength are just incredible. She is incredible. And there are thousands and thousands of stories from additional survivors who have benefited from the work of the American Cancer Society. Tonight, we celebrate them all, and we're thankful that the Society has not stopped their work in the face of COVID-19. Now more than ever, the American Cancer Society also needs you. Right now, you can help save someone's life right from your home. You can fund research, you can help a caregiver, you can work to decrease healthcare disparities. So again, check out that link that's on your screen. Donations of any size are welcome and appreciated. No giving is too small. Now, next up, we have a very special treat for you. We are so pleased to present an amazing performance by, and you probably have heard of her before, former American Idol finalist, Pia Toscano.
It is my true honor to still be able to perform for you all despite the crazy times that we're in right now. And I hope this song could provide a light and lift us all up in power and love. This is Rise Up.
You're broken down and tired of living life on a merry-go-round. You can find the fighter, but I see it in you, so we gon' walk it out. Move mountains, we gon' walk it out. Move mountains, and I'll rise up. I'll rise like the day. I'll rise up. I'll rise unafraid. I'll rise up, and I'll do it 1,000 times again. And I'll rise up. I'll rise like the waves. I'll rise up in spite of the ache. I'll rise up, and I'll do it 1,000 times again.
Thank you so much for having me.
What an incredible performance. Thank you so much, Pia. Now, of course, this is really nice to have these incredible performances, but we're here tonight for one real mission, to help free the world we live in from cancer. The American Cancer Society does this through many different avenues, including leading groundbreaking research on everything from breast cancer, colorectal cancer, lung cancer, to childhood cancer and cancer healthcare disparities. And that studies the quality of healthcare that differs between people based on their income, their race and ethnicity, gender, age, and where they live. So very important work. And as mentioned earlier in the program, we typically auction off birthday cakes at the San Francisco Discovery Gala. The American Cancer Society is proudly the official sponsor of birthdays because a world with less cancer is a world with more birthdays. The birthday cake represents cancer survivors who are able to celebrate another birthday, in part because of your generosity. And as I mentioned earlier tonight, this year we have a very unique opportunity to give back, and we're calling it the Birthday Cake Challenge. So here's a quick recap of how this all works. For each donation, $5,000 or above, the American Cancer Society will donate appreciation cupcakes on the donor's behalf to frontline healthcare workers who are caring for both cancer patients and COVID-19 patients at San Francisco General Hospital. The donor will also receive a specialty birthday cake and a case of Hinshaw wine to go with all that cake delivered right to your doorstep. Now, for each donation of $500 or more, we will give out appreciation cupcakes on the donor's behalf. All cakes and all cupcakes will be created by Judy Kahn, the owner and pastry chef of Confections Bakery in San Francisco. Judy's not only a selfless business owner and chef, she's a cancer survivor herself. So please enjoy this short video featuring Judy and her amazing team.
I'm Judy Kahn, and this is my husband, Mark Kahn, and I am the owner of Confections Bakery in San Francisco. In January of last year, I had my own cancer journey, and I was diagnosed with stage 2 breast cancer, and was currently undergoing treatment at the time that we were asked to be part of the gala. And so I wanted to definitely reach out to do something to help support other people that were going through the same thing that I was.
The 2019 gala was in October of last year, and Judy was right in the middle of probably the worst of the chemo that she was going through, and having that gala really helped to get her through all of that, being able to give back to the community and actually just be a distraction from the day-to-day challenges of going through breast cancer treatment.
I used the American Cancer Society website a lot to basically look at other side effects and what to expect, kind of just reaffirm what I was going through, know that there are other people out there, is this normal? Is this not normal? And, just as a big resource. I did a lot of that.
Obviously in a COVID environment, the in-person gala isn't happening, and we're thrilled that the ACS and that the ACS has figured out how to an alternative mechanism for raising money for such an important cause. The gala itself last year was pretty mind-blowing in terms of seeing people rally, and I start to get a little teary-eyed, honestly, when I think back to when they rolled out Judy's cakes and they put them up for auction, and just the excitement and the reception that she got and the cakes got from the folks in the crowd was, I'm tearing up. It was really inspirational, and it was awesome to see.
Like Mark said, we were really blown away with the reception last year, and the 2 cakes, I never would have thought it were able to raise $30,000 for ACS, and I hope, fingers crossed, that this year with the virtual gala we're able to beat that and to bring some cupcakes, lots of cupcakes to SFG.
Thank you so much to Judy Kahn and Confections. What an incredible story and an amazing opportunity to support our extraordinary frontline healthcare workers and the American Cancer Society. So thank you, Judy. Now for you, there's still time to participate in this challenge. Please use your phones or just open up a new web browser tab and visit the link that's on your screen now so that you can give. Now, I have to take a moment to say how grateful we are for each and every one of you for tuning in tonight. Again, a little bit of extraordinary circumstances here. Thank you for joining us in this fight against cancer, and thank you for all of your generosity. And the good news is there is still time to give and lift that thermometer goal. So it is my pleasure to welcome back for closing remarks, Mike Morrissey from Exelixis.
As our Discovery Gala is coming to an end, we'd like to once again thank everyone for taking time out of your day to join us this evening. Without your support, the American Cancer Society could not continue to provide the critical programs and services to cancer patients and their families in need. We would also like to once again thank our sponsors and donors who continue to support the organization and their mission to save lives, celebrate lives, and lead the fight for a world without cancer. And now it's our honor to introduce the event chairs for the 2021 San Francisco Discovery Gala, Jackie Gouchelaar, Group CIO of Cisco, and Audrey Flavelle, founder of FOVL. Thank you.
Good evening to all of you. I am Jackie Gouchelaar, and this is my wife, Audrey Flavelle. We are truly honored to be the vice chairs of Discovery Gala in San Francisco this year. I'm also very proud to work for an amazing organization, Cisco, who are presenting sponsors this year. A special and personal thanks to Chuck Robbins and the entire executive leadership team for supporting us in this great cause. We wanted to start with Audrey sharing why this is so important to her.
Hello, everyone. Cancer is very personal to me, as I know it has touched many of you. We've got a very long cancer history running within the family. 3 years ago, we got diagnosed by the Institute of Marie Curie in Paris with a BRCA gene, which is a gene transmitted from generation to generation randomly. When I got tested with my baby sister, my test came back negative, but my little sister was positive and diagnosed also with a very advanced breast cancer at the age of only 32. Thanks to the progress of science and therapies to protect her, she is now in remission, she's cancer-free, and I'm so happy to say that she's a survivor. She's my hero. To conclude, I wanted to share a very, very inspiring story. In 1929, Marie Curie, that I mentioned earlier, was invited in New York as a guest of honor for the American Cancer Society dinner. And it's very, very humbling that two countries that are so close to my heart are fighting the fight together. So let's donate, let's contribute to help as much as we can and save more lives. Thank you.
And just like Audrey, I also have a personal story. My grandmother is turning 100 years old this year. She has had cancer 3 times, and she has been a survivor 3 times. And she truly is my inspiration every single day. I'm also inspired by all of you, your personal time, your commitment, doing whatever you can, whether that's donations, charity, etc. Thank you so much, and thank you so much for leading us through fighting this terrible disease. Finally, we look forward to following in the footsteps of some chairs before us. I wanted to thank Megan and Michael Morrissey for their great leadership. I also wanted to thank we wanted to thank Julia and John Hinshaw for the many years of their commitment, including inspiring us to take on this role. We thank you for that. We commit to playing an active role as chairs in 2021. The more we give, the more we know we can make a difference. So thanks to all of you, and we look forward to seeing you in person, we hope, in 2021.
Thank you so much to our wonderful event chairs and to you, all of our sponsors. We've had such a great night. Now, over the past 9 years, the San Francisco Discovery Gala has raised close to $10 million in support of our cause. Now, the good news here is that the giving doesn't stop yet. The auction doesn't end until midnight Pacific time. So you still got a chance to go and fuel the American Cancer Society mission to lead to a world without cancer. Now, as a cancer survivor myself, I would really like to say, as someone who's felt the sting of uncertainty, I want to personally thank each and every one of you for the giving that you've done and continue to do. As we know, cancer is indiscriminate, and it unfortunately impacts about 1 out of 3 Americans sometime in their lifetime, which is an astounding statistic I have still not gotten over yet. And that's not even to mention the millions more people who become caregivers to the people who've been diagnosed with cancer. So your donations mean people may have a shot at a better treatment or at getting housing or transportation to get treatment. They mean a world more free of the pain that cancer causes. So from me and from everyone at the American Cancer Society, thank you so, so much. And we hope to see you back next year for the 10th year, fingers crossed, in the same room. Have a wonderful night.
Are you ready for some pretty amazing news? 2 of our board of ambassadors have just donated $20,000 each. So, of course, thank you so much to Bruce Kozad, CEO of Jazz Pharmaceuticals, and our own 2020 event chairs, Mike and Megan Morrissey. Now, that is going to be a ton of cupcakes that will be sent in your names to the frontline workers at SF General.